if you can't see your abs, you are fat. Is this statement true? Let's take a look, and I'll try to be as objective as possible because there's no reason to get emotional over this topic. So when you walk into a doctor's office, usually the first screening tool that they use is BMI, body mass index. Now this is just height and weight, nothing else. And as a screening tool, BMI, according to Barbell Medicine, is about 50% sensitive and 97% specific. So basically what this means is that of the people that the test is designed to catch, it's only catching 50%. So there are people below 30 BMI, which is the cutoff for obesity, who should still lose weight. So there's lots of people who are 26 BMI, 27 BMI, who are still too fat for optimal health. It is, however, about 97% specific. So what this means is that there's only 3% of people who the test catches but are actually healthy. So to be 30 BMI, for example, for me at 6 feet tall, I would need to be 100 kilograms. I'm currently about 98 kilograms. So if I gain just 2 more kilos, about 4.4 pounds, which I should be able to do in a month, pure muscle, right? I will be medically obese according to BMI. So is BMI perfect? Hell no. Taken alone, it's actually not very good. It's just a very simple, quick, and easy initial assessment. And then you move on to other ways to assess the patient. And usually the second one is waist measurement. If someone is a 30 BMI, but they have a 32-inch waist, they're fine. They're good to go. It's a sign that their body fat percentage, and their visceral fat in particular, is not super high. That difference, the reason they have a high body weight per unit of height, it's probably muscle. In particular, a high waist measurement could be indicative of having a high level of visceral fat. This is fat that is packed around your organs, and this is the fat that you do not want to have and is associated with a lot of metabolic diseases. You do not want a belly by any means. If someone says, if you have a belly, you are fat, I would say most people would agree. If you have a sizable belly, not a good sign. However, part of this is structural. Some people, when they're very, very lean, they still have a somewhat high waist measurement. There are people on stage way below 10% body fat who have 34, 35, maybe even 36-inch waists. It's just genetic and it's structural. Other people, more blessed in that regard, they might have a 28-inch waist or a 27-inch waist at the same body fat percentage. Now, what about visible abdominal muscles? Is this a good metric of what you should do with your training, with your diet? Should you bulk or lean bulk or cut or main gain or gain tain or tain gain or whatever? Let's see. Now, the first issue that I see is that it is subjective. It's not a number like BMI. It's not a number like a waist measurement. It's not a number like an actual body fat percentage. It is very, very subjective. To a lot of people, abs are like clearly visible, etched in cedarwood type of abdominals. And anything less than that is not abs. To other people, a faint outline, maybe 12 or 13% body fat, although it's going to vary as you'll see, is abs. To some people, especially people who are backtracking on their comments, having any abs, even the slightest glimmer of upper abs, is abs. I would say that is a little bit disingenuous because if I had a client who wanted to get abs and they're cutting and they're cutting and they're cutting and then I'm like, see, look, abs, you have like a little bit of the upper 4-pack and you can kind of see it when you're flexing in the right lighting, when you're dehydrated. Give me the money. They'd be like, no, what the fuck? This is not what I signed on for. Next, the actual physical muscular development of the abdominals is obviously going to play a huge part in their visibility. Like, or whoever likes to use he who shall not be named.
How lies have fed your legend. Shall I reveal what really happened?
Bulking and cutting.
It was old magic. Something I should have foreseen. But no matter, no matter. Things have changed. I can touch you now.
Likes to use enhanced bodybuilders as examples, they typically have a large amount of muscle mass in that area. If you are squatting and deadlifting massive weights and you're really developing that area because you're standing on stage mostly naked for a living and taking large amounts of drugs to do that, you're going to have a lot more muscle in that area. And so, yes, your abdominals will be visible at a high body fat percentage. But that's not true of everyone. If someone is skinny and underweight and they have never trained their abs in their life, you might actually be very, very small and not have abs. You're not fat. There's just nothing in that area. Why would there be if you've never trained that area or trained at all? Does this mean that you are fat? Does this mean that you should not try to eat to gain muscle, to gain weight when you're like 15 BMI? What if you do a shitload of crunches and now you can see your abs? Is this like now, oh, you're no longer fat even though you are the exact same body composition? That doesn't make sense. Can you now bulk because you did a bunch of crunches before? It's a stupid metric. Can you imagine using any other body part for this? Like, if you can't see a biceps vein, you're fat. If you can't see quad striations, you're fat. If you can't see neck veins and striations and separation, you're fat. It's ridiculous. It's a stupid, ridiculous, dumb fucking statement.
Can you imagine if you went to your doctor's office one year and instead of the normal like BMI and waist measurement, he's like, all right, gonna need to pop that shirt off. Let's see how those bad boys are looking. You been doing your crunches, bitch?
Next, there's a wide variation in how different people store their fat. Variation between men and women, variation between the races, variation between people with different levels of stress, different activity levels, different dietary habits, and even for an individual, you might find that on different bulks and different cuts, the fat goes on slightly differently every single time. It's not always exactly the same. Does this mean that you should make different decisions only based on how visible your abs are? I would argue no. You also have to take into account bloating and water retention. This is typically going to be, guess where, in the abdominal region. So if you're eating a food that you're intolerant to, let's say oatmeal just bloats you up, or milk bloats you up, or whatever, should this impact your training and your diet decisions? Well, yeah, you should cut those foods out, most likely, but should it impact the number of calories that you consume, your surplus or your deficit or whatever? Probably not. Finally, you also have to take into account that visceral fat is different from subcutaneous belly fat. There are guys who have sizable bellies and still have fairly visible abdominals. Now, in the bodybuilding world, this might be growth hormone as well, but no doubt that there is a difference between visceral fat, which you do not want at all, you want to minimize that shit, it sucks, and subcutaneous fat over your abs. So you have skin, subcutaneous fat, muscle, then your organs and visceral fat. You don't want this shit. Why are we vilifying this stuff here? This stuff is not going to be that bad. It's hiding your abs, but it's not killing you like this shit is. I personally would say go based on body fat percentage. It's a little bit trickier to measure, but it's more objective than just can you see your abs and how much of your abs can you see. In my opinion, that is not a very good metric, and it is mostly born out of vanity rather than actually thinking about if this matters.
It was foolish of you to come here tonight. The orders are on their way.
By which time I shall be gone. And you shall be dead.
So by all means, if you want to keep your abs, you can keep your abs. There's nothing wrong with that. But just because you can't see your abs does not mean that you are fat. For the wide variety of reasons, that I just listed. And I do think that the onus is at least partially on the viewer when it comes to interpreting the statements from YouTube channels. If one person's comment gives you body dysmorphia or, makes you cut or makes you bulk or makes you do anything, I would say that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign of what they're doing, if it's bad, if it's negative, if it impacts you, but it's also a sign that maybe you're too easily influenced. That being said, as content creators, the most important trait that we can have is empathy. It's not knowledge, it's not hard work, it's not production value, it's empathy. It's being able to consider what impact our words might have. How is what I am saying going to change other people's lives for better or for worse? Words matter, and the bigger the platform that you have, the more they matter. And so you have to think about what other people are going to take from your words. It's not just about what you want. It's not just about your own experiences and your own feelings and hopes and dreams and desires. It's about the audience as well. I'm strongly against cancel culture and I'm strongly for freedom of speech, but if you're saying some dumb shit that is hurting people for your own financial gain, I'm gonna use my own freedom of speech to call that out. Finally, we're gonna finish the video with a daily definition, just a completely random definition that I pulled from a dictionary. Just open the dictionary, close my eyes, picked a word, here we go. Psychopathy is characterized by diagnostic features such as superficial charm, high intelligence,
Is he though?
poor judgment and failure to learn from experience, pathological egocentricity and incapacity for love, lack of remorse or shame, impulsivity, grandiose sense of self-worth, pathological lying, manipulative behavior, poor self-control, promiscuous sexual behavior, juvenile delinquency, and criminal versatility, among others. So take from that what you will. Just a totally random definition. I just picked up the dictionary here and was like, well, let's just, just spread some knowledge. So in summary, using your abdominals to inform bulking and cutting or main gaining or whatever decisions is incomplete at best and straight up stupid at worst. All right, I hope you like this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do YouTube stuff. Just grab my book. It'll help a lot on your fitness journey. Peace.